Yeah, let us start this session. So let me tell you what is the course content first, and we will deep dive into the Google Cloud Storage services one by one. So for that one, so today's session, what we will discuss is like, let me introduce the course content today. And after that, we will start with the basic concepts into the data engineering. So this is a course content, guys. I think you guys already know what is the course topics. Topic wise, if you wanted to see. So topic-wise services, these are the services that we are going to discuss in our session. So we'll be, I think yesterday you both are attended to the, the workshop, right? Did you guys attend, both of them?
No, sir, I didn't attend.
Okay, for that one, yeah, let me try to give you a course content that we will discuss in our session. So in this one, here we are going to discuss about a data lake, that is a Google Cloud Storage. And we will be having a RDBMS solutions, that is a CloudSQL and Cloud Spanner that we are going to see. And we are going to learn about a data warehouse solution, that is a BigQuery, and an NoSQL database, that is a Bigtable. And we are learning about a Kafka ingestion tool, that is a PubSub in GCP. And we are having a data processing systems, that is Dataproc, Dataflow, Data Fusion, and a workflow orchestration tool, that is a Airflow Composer instance, and IAM concepts, cloud functions, cloud scheduler. Okay, so these are all the topics that we are going to discuss in our sessions, guys. If you wanted to see an individual, topic wise, if you wanted to see the courses, so details, you will be able to see it here. So in a Google Cloud Storage, these are the concepts that we are going to discuss. In a Cloud SQL, these are the concepts that we are going to discuss. So all the data engineering concepts, if I wanted to name all of those services, so all these services are related to the data engineer. This course will really help you to build your career in a data engineering domain. So all the concepts related to the data engineering in the Google Cloud platform are already covered. If you need an access to my notes, you please let me know, sir. I will try to provide you a topic wise topics that we need to that we are going to discuss in our session. Okay, so what we will do is like, let me start with one other topic in the Google Cloud platform, that is sorry, not it here, it's not here. So 1 minute. Okay, so we're going to discuss about, so in a big data database landscape, these are the topics that we have. We are going to see what is the Google Cloud Storage and database landscapes, the RDBMS solutions, no RDBMS solution, all of those things. Okay. Okay, so in this one, this is a topics that we are going to discuss in the storage services, guys. If I have to say, in a Google Cloud platform, if you go to the Google Cloud platform, the services are broadly categorized into these 4 services, guys. So there will be a GCP services. If I have to say Google Cloud data engineering services are broadly categorized into, okay, one is storage services, storage and database services. Okay, one more is data processing, one more is data ingestion, okay, one more is orchestration. So these are all the services that they are categorized into: storage and database services, data processing systems, data ingestion. It's not ingestion. Okay, data ingestion services and orchestration services. And we are starting with the database and storage services. In that one, we are having a first service is Google Cloud Storage. Okay. And after that, we have a RDBMS solutions. These are the two RDBMS solutions, sir. These two are the RDBMS solutions. These are the NoSQL databases. This is a data lake. Okay, so this is a database landscape. In the database services, storage and database services, we have totally 5 services, guys. One is Google Cloud Storage, the second one Cloud SQL, Cloud Spanner, Cloud Firestore, and Cloud Bigtable. So out of this one, first one is a data lake, and these two consider as a database RDBMS services. These two are the NoSQL databases. Okay, so let us start with the Google Cloud Storage from today onwards. So that is our data lake, right? So we are going to learn about a data lake. So before that, what is a data lake? If we wanted to understand, a data lake is a place where you are going to store any amount of data, any kind of a data, and a scalable and secure platform, I would say. For example, sir, what happens is, I want you to understand this concept. So this is what, sir. If you can see here, where you will be having a multiple data sources, multiple data coming from a multiple data sources. Okay, so when you talk about a data lake and data warehouse, you have a data coming from a multiple data sources. That data comes from a RDBMS solutions, or applications, or a IoT. Okay, when you have a multiple data sources coming from a multiple, when you have a data coming from a multiple data sources, you try to ingest the data into the data lake, right? And after that, you do some processing on top of it, and you send the data to the data warehouse. But what is a data lake? What are the examples for the data lake? What is a data warehouse? What is the advantage of a data warehouse? What is the difference between the data lake and data warehouse? Let us try to see it. And what are the examples for the data lake, as well as what are the examples for the data warehouse? We will see it today, and we will try to understand the main difference between the data lake as well as data warehouse, right? So then we will go to the Google Cloud Storage, right? So first, so let us understand what is the data lake, sir. Sir, data lake is a place, is a centralized repository. From this one, you can understand that it is a centralized repository to store the data from a multiple data sources. Here you can store any amount of data, any number of files, any format of the data as well. Okay. Okay, so this is what is a data lake, sir. A data lake is a centralized repository to store your data and retrieve your data as per your requirement. Okay, what is a data lake, sir? A data lake is a centralized repository to store and retrieve the data. What kind of a data we can store here? If someone asks you, we can store any kind of a data. Either it can be a structured data or semi-structured data or unstructured data. We can store it here. How many number of files we can store it here? Any number of files we can store it here. Okay. There is no restriction on the size of the file. There is no restriction on the amount of file. And it is a scalable platform as well as secured platform. Okay. What is the data lake, sir? A data lake is a centralized repository where you store data coming from a multiple data sources according to your business requirement. And any amount of data you can store it here. Any kind of a data you can store it here. Any file of any format also you can store it here. When I say a file format, either it can be a CSV, either it can be a Parquet, Avro, anything. Okay, JSON. Any file format data can also be stored here, and any number of files we can store. Any restrictions? No restriction on the file size. It is a scalable. When I say scalable, today you wanted to store 100 GB. Tomorrow you wanted to store 1000 GB. Okay, the data lake can withstand that. It can even go from 1000 GB to 100 GB to 1000 GB. Okay, it can withstand this much amount of scalability. So when I say scalability in our upcoming classes, what is meant by scaling up and what is meant by scaling down, scaling in and scaling out, all of those differences we will see in our upcoming classes. For now, just understanding that the scaling up and scaling down is something that if I wanted to increase my resources, I go for the scaling up. If I wanted to decrease my resources, I wanted to scale down. Okay. So again, there will be a vertical scale up, vertical scale down also there. So we will see that. Okay. And what is a data warehouse? So data warehouse is again a centralized repository. Okay. So a data warehouse, what is a data warehouse, sir? A data warehouse is again same thing. So you get a data from the data lake, but you just process the data because the data that you have got it from the data lake may not be in a usable format. You try to format it and again you try to process it, you clean it, you prepare it and you send it to the data warehouse. Okay, but the thing here is data warehouse. If it is a structured data warehouse, what it will do, even though it is a CSV file, or even though it is a JSON file, or even though it is a some other Parquet or Avro, whatever it format it is, okay. But in the data warehouse, the data will be in the form of what, sir? The data will be in the form of a structured tabular manner. The data will be in the form of a rows and columns. And again, there will be a fixed schema will be there. A schema is nothing but the relation between the rows and columns. So this is how the data looks in the data warehouse. Again, it is a centralized repository to store your data coming from a multiple data sources. But the data in the data will be in the form of a structured manner. So that's what I have mentioned here. Here in the data warehouse, you can collect the data, you can store the data, you can process the data, you can analyze the data. When I say process and analyze, you are going to use SQL language. Data warehouses comes up with a built-in query engine. Okay, data warehouses comes up with a built-in query engine. That query engine is capable of running the SQL queries. Okay, so this is the main difference you can understand. In the data lake, it does not have any query engine. Okay, but in the data warehouse, it comes up with a built-in query engine. Okay, that's the reason. That's what I have mentioned here. Okay, so if you can see the second point, a centralized repository to collect, store, transform, and analyze your data. Okay, we can store structured and tabular data. The rows and columns schema must be properly defined, and it is a scalable platform and a secured platform. When I say secured, you can apply policy tags for sensitive data, views, access control, retention policies, all of those things you can go for it, and comes up with a built-in query engine. That query engine is capable of running the SQL queries and SQL-like queries. Okay, there can be a storage optimizations also we can do. Okay, so this is what is said. But what is the main intention of creating a data lake and what is the main purpose of the data warehouse? If you wanted to understand, the data lake main purpose is to store all the data. Okay, and at the time is needed, at the time came, we have to retrieve the data. Okay, the main intention of a data lake is to store the data and retrieve the data for further processing purpose, for further downstream use case purpose. Okay, but the main intention of a data warehouse is to improve the business by analyzing the historical data. Okay, the main intention of a data warehouse is to improve the business by analyzing the data. But how you are going to analyze it, sir? If I wanted to analyze the data, I need to have some query engine. That query engine is it is capable of running SQL queries, right? So there will be a built-in query engine. Okay. So with the help of this query engine, we are going to analyze the data. We are going to write a complex queries on top of it, and we will try to analyze this data. Yes, we will see what is the difference between the data warehouse and data RDBMS, right? So when we talk about that, we will learn about RDBMS, but holistically, if you wanted to understand, I will try to mention it here. What is the difference between the one more is operational database, nothing but a RDBMS, right? One more is RDBMS, nothing but a OLAP. People call it as a OLAP. Okay, the very first point, it is also a place where we are going to store the transactional data. Okay, day-to-day activities. For example, as I mentioned in the data warehouse, we are going to store the historical data, but in the RDBMS, we are going to store the day-to-day activities. For example, think like this are very simple. If you wanted to understand the difference, this is the difference. Okay. For example, you think that every day, maybe think that you will be using some Flipkart application every day. Okay, there are people who are using a Flipkart application to order some products from the Flipkart. So what they do? So this is one person. This is one person. This is one person. Okay, people try to use the application and do some kind of a transaction. When I say a transaction for the Flipkart is that ordering something in the Flipkart. So whenever someone is using a Flipkart or any other application for transaction, nothing but ordering something, doing some kind of activity, what happens is like that transaction will be stored in the OLAP. Okay, nothing but a RDBMS. Okay, so online sorry, not OLAP, sir, OLTP. Okay, online transactional processing. Okay, so for this one, the data will be the system used is RDBMS to store this data. So what is the OLTP? OLTP is the online transactional processing. The day-to-day activities, the transactions will be stored here. So when someone do an activity on the Flipkart application, that data will be stored, or that action or that transaction will be stored in the OLTP, nothing but a RDBMS solution. Okay, for RDBMS solutions, we have a plenty of RDBMS. Either you can go for the MySQL, you can go for the SQL Server, you can go for the Postgres. Many things are there, right? So this is this is what happens. Okay, when some person uses an application, the data will be stored in the OLTP. That's when I say OLTP is an engeneric one. What is the tool, sir? RDBMS is a solution. That is MySQL or SQL Server. So after that, the data goes to the staging area or data lake. So this is your data lake or staging area. People call it as a staging area. Some people call it as a data lake. After that, it go to the data warehouse. Now this picture actually gives me a good idea to understand it. So let me. Okay. So this is your data lake. This is your OLAP or data warehouse, both are same, sir. OLAP or data warehouse, whatever it is. Okay. So what they will do? Okay. So what is the OLTP, sir? OLTP is the one where we are storing the transactional data. The day-to-day activities are stored here. So when I say day-to-day activities, what I am doing, the main purpose of the OLTP is to continue the business. The business continue. The main intention of the OLTP is to business continue. And to continue the business, you can say. To continue the business. If we don't have a OLTP, what will happen, sir? If you don't have a OLTP, the transactions will not be stored here. There won't be a solution to available to continue the business, because if we do not have a OLTP, even the Flipkart application itself cannot withstand. Why it is? Sir, if I go to one product, the product image, the product name, the product details, product discount details, all the product descriptions will be stored in the OLTP only. Flipkart is an application. It does not store the data. It only the data for the data and it supports or it depends on the OLTP. If the OLTP itself it is not there, you cannot run your business. To run your business, to continue your business, OLTP is must. So the main purpose of the OLTP is to continue the business. So how we are going to achieve it? With the help of the RDBMS solutions. Okay. This is one thing, sir. And one more thing, sir. I now know that. Sir, I now know that what I wanted to do is like, I wanted to, my business is continuing, but I wanted to improve my business. My business is good, sir, but I wanted to improve my business. So that's where you can go for OLAP. OLAP is to improve your business. How you are improving it? By analyzing the data. How you are analyzing that? OLAPs are coming up with the data. OLAP is nothing but a data warehouse. The solution for the OLAP is nothing but a data warehouse. Data warehouse is already coming with the built-in query engine. That query engine is capable of running the SQL queries. So with the help of the writing a queries, I will analyze the data in the OLAP so that I will be able to take a proper decision on it. So when I take a proper decision, my business will be improved. Okay, so this is how the flow. So the main intention of a OLAP is to improve your business. Okay, so that can be achieved with the help of analyzing the data. A complex queries you are going to read. Okay, so once you have a OLTP as well as OLAP, this is where some people call it as a staging area. Some people call it as a data lake. So you get the data. This is a transactional data. Transactional data cannot withstand. For example, so the OLTP RDBMS will have its own limitations because it cannot store more data. When I say even it also can store more data, but I don't want it to store all the data here, because what happens, OLTP systems are not only to continue the business, they have to support this application. If they have to support this application, if there is a lot of data, the seek time will be very high. Okay, when I say seek time, the latency, whenever someone is trying to use this, sorry guys. So what is the seek time? So whenever someone is trying to access the OLTP, or whenever someone is trying to use the application gets the data from the OLTP. But if there is a lot of data in the OLTP, that cannot withstand. So what happens is like, I don't want it to put a lot of data in the OLTP, because OLTP itself go out of memory. When it is going out of memory, the request from the application, it cannot directly answer it properly. That's where what I will do, the historical data, only the day-to-day activities, I will store it here. The historical data, I will move it from the OLTP to the OLAP using this data lake staging area. Okay, I will move the historical data, because I will only, for example, for me, my business only needs last 6 months data. Okay, only last 6 months data I will store it here. But before that 6 months, because if your company is there from last 10 years, all the 9.5 years of the data will be moved from the OLTP to the OLAP every 6 months. Okay, every 6 months the data will be old for them. If they mention it is a 3 months, every 3 months the data becomes old. So the old data will go to the old. So this is how the OLAP will become. Or some people only having 1 month, some people only having 1 week. So according to the period, they move the data from the OLTP to the OLAP. Okay. So that is the reason why DAX queries are used. So DAX queries are used in very, yes, you can think of like that. Yes, exactly. That can be a one reason. Yes. So when you go to the Power BI, so people are using the data analytical expressions. They try to write, the queries, or they try to find a solution for the last 10 years data or last time period activity. So today's this year is the sales of this much, but last year how was the sales? Last to last year how was the sales? So when you wanted to do, that's the reason they are trying to write a queries on top of it like this. Okay, DAX queries in a DAX also, in a Tableau also, people write it in a different way. Even in the SQL also we can write this kind of a query. So this is how you are going to move the data from this one. But now tell me, sir, this is OLTP. So you are telling, sir, RDBMS, this is fine. Okay. Is the data lakes just gets the data from the RDBMS? No. A data lake gets the data from an application also. It can also get from the IoT, sensors application also. It's not that I wanted to store only the data related to the RDBMS. Data lakes are responsible, or data lakes are much more scalable, or much more advanced technology that it can store any format data. It can accept the data from the RDBMS, it accepts the data from the IoT, it accepts the data from the application as well. But when you get a data from an application, it is not in a correct manner. You have to process it. When you get a data from RDBMS, it is kind of sorted, but again, you need to do some processing in it. Again, data coming from a IoT also you need to do process. So the data lake data is the same format of the data that you get from the original system. For example, in the OLTP, if you get a table of some size, in the OLTP, that data coming from RDBMS will, again, it's a table. Sir, if you get a data from IoT in the form of a file, CSV format, that is the same CSV file. Here also it is CSV. If you get an application, most of the times it is a JSON. So it is of a JSON file only. Okay, but what is my OLAP? My OLAP is a data warehouse. A data warehouse only can store the data in the form of what? Tables. So that's where again you have to format the data and you have to send it. So this is a very good thing, sir. You have to understand this because people unable to understand the main purpose of the activity, main purpose of the tools. If you don't understand the main purpose, again, even in the interviews also you will be, even though some people who are having a 6-7 years of experience, they does not understand the entire architecture. So this architecture, why we are having OLTP, why we are having data lake, why we are having OLAP, if you don't understand this thing, I mean, you can even work without understanding also. But the thing is, like, if you wanted to convey some information to your client or to the interviewer, so it's very good. It's very important for us to understand the basics of it. Okay, so this is how the basic. Now, hope you got some idea about it. So now you understand the data lake and data warehouse as well as the RDBMS also. So RDBMS is a transactional data, day-to-day activities. Here also we will be having a query engine, sir. It is also capable of running the query engine. We can also, because why we are having a query engine in the OLTP, that is a very good question first. Because, sir, if I wanted to store the data coming from a Flipkart, I need to have some table here. But who is creating a table? I, as a data engineer, has to create one table. If it is a product data you are reading, I will create a product table here, orders table here, customers tables here, customer master, product master, order master, address master, all the tables I will create it, and I will plug in this one. To the front end, I will plug in it so that if it is a product data is, if someone is ordered, the order information has to directly go and store it in the order table. And if someone is ordering, means there will be a customer information also. Customer information has to go and insert into the customer table. So this is how. This is the concept of normalization. And here we use a denormalization. So these concepts also in detail we will see in our upcoming classes, guys. Very important thing. Okay. And schemas also we have to understand star schema, snowflake schema. So this is not a topic. Maybe in generic topics, these things, but detailed, if I wanted to build an entire OLTP system, or detailed if I wanted to build an entire data warehousing solution, So that's where we have to go for in detail partitioning concept, storage optimizations, clusterings, many things, nested fields, repeated fields, many things we have to understand. So that's where we will see in our upcoming classes. But holistically, if you wanted to understand what is a data lake, what is a data warehouse, and what is an RDBMS, this is what is a thing, guys. Hope you got some idea. Now, if you ask me what are the examples, okay, the next question is, sir, can you give me an examples for the data lake? Sir, on premises, if you go, Hadoop distributed file system is your data lake. Okay, if you go to the AWS, Amazon S3 buckets is your data lake. If you go to the Azure blob storages, or people call it as ADLS also. Okay, Azure data lake system. Okay, ADLS. And if you go to the Google Cloud platform, you have a Google Cloud storage. So what are the examples for the data lakes, sir? On-premises HDFS, Amazon S3 buckets, Azure blob storage or ADLS, Azure data lake systems, and GCP cloud storage. And what are the examples for the data warehouses, if you ask me? Sir, Hive is there, Teradata is there for the on-premises, and AWS is there for Redshift, Synapse Analytics, BigQuery, Snowflake. So this is a difference. Sir, I am a multi-cloud data engineer. I worked on almost Azure and GCP. I didn't get a chance to work on the AWS, but I am a very good, I will be able to teach GCP as well as Azure. So whenever I talk about one service in the data engineering, I will talk about other services, other GCP as well, so that you will be able to have some knowledge on it. So that, and what about the RDBMS, sir? The solution for the RDBMS in the GCP, it is Cloud SQL. Okay. And if you go to Cloud SQL, and Spanner is also there. If you go to Azure, you will be having SQL databases. If you go to AWS, you will be having RDS, Relational Database Service. If you go to RDB, on-premises, you will be having MySQL, PostgreSQL, DB2, or Oracle. So these are the on-premises. Okay, so this is how the tools that are there for the each and every solution. Hope you got some idea, guys. Okay, yeah. Any questions? With this, I am concluding the class for today. Maybe tomorrow we will see what is a Google Cloud Storage. Yeah. Any questions? If you have, you can ask me, guys. Hope you learned something today. Yeah. Thank you all. So tomorrow at the same time, we will be having this class. These are the regular classes only, guys. Every day there will be a class. So please try to understand, please try to attend the classes. And one more thing is like today we have talked about this thing, right? Tomorrow we will be looking at Google Cloud Storage. Yeah. Thank you all. Have a great day. Yes, guys, daily 1 hour. And one more thing is like daily we will be having a 1 hour session for next 40 hours. I think I might have forgot to mention that, right? I will try to mention that. So hope you guys can see my screen. Let me share my screen. Okay, so you already seen my screen. Okay, so daily we will be having a 1 hour, guys. 1 hour session for next 40 hours. Each and every concept in detail we are going to learn. More of a practical things, more of the practical sessions only. We are going to do it with help of the GCP free tier account. Okay, free tier account. I will tell you how to create an account of 300 credits for next 3 months. And one more thing is like, this is mainly for those who are going for a job and who are planning for certifications. Okay, certifications like you can plan for AS as well as PDE. Okay, this course is intended for these two. who are planning to have a job in the data engineering or who are planning for a certification in the GCP, they can go for this course. And one more thing is like every day the timings are same, 8:30 to 9:30. Okay, so this is one thing. And material provided. And one more thing is recordings also provided. Okay, so this is all about. The course name is a Google Data Engineering in the Google Cloud Platform. Course details are these are the course details, guys. Okay, yeah. Any questions? Yes, after this course, can I attempt for certification? Yes, guys. If you are planning for a associate cloud engineer or a professional data engineer, you can go for this. Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah. We will see rest of the things tomorrow. Thank you all. Yeah. Thank you all. Have a great day.